Okay, laying of the tables. Today we want to learn how to lay the table. Laying of the table, preparing of the table, that is for the service. You first have to clothe the table. It should be laid in readiness for the service. Cutleries must be laid consistently about 1.5 centimeters or half an inch from the edge of the table. When we talk about the cutleries, we are talking about the spoons, the knives, and the forks. Those are the cutleries that we laid on the table. When we say 1.25 centimeters, we are talking about the thumb. You can use the thumb from the edge of the table so that the cutleries do not keep on falling from the table. The next thing that you do after the cutleries is the crockeries. The crockeries that has patch or crescent is laid so that the patch is at the head or at the top of the cover. Now when you talk about the crockeries, we are talking about if you're using the dinner plate, if you're using the side plates, we have the soup bowls and the fish plates. Those are the crockeries that we are talking about. Most of them have patches that is the logo of the hotel. So if you have that logo, you put it in a way that a customer can easily identify the logo. Another thing that you need to have in your table is the glasses. Glasses should be polished and placed at the top right hand corner of the cover. And when you're talking about the glasses, we have the wine glasses and the water glass. Wine glasses could either be a red wine glass or a white wine glass, and a tumbler that is for water. You have to polish it using hot water. Make sure that you don't leave the marks on the glasses. Another thing that you have to do is to put the table accompaniment, and the table accompaniment should be placed on the table according to the custom of the establishment. When we are talking about the table accompaniment, we are talking about if you will be having the mayonnaise, the vinegar, the vinaigrette, depending on the service that will be offered by that establishment. And that is the reason why we are saying it is according to the custom of the establishment. When handling the cutleries, we are already talked about the cutleries. So when handling the cutleries, it is most often held between the thumb and the forefingers in the center at the side to reduce the risk of the finger marks. When we talk about at the end, at the side, yeah, of the cutleries, meaning that you don't have to hold on the area where it is used to scoop the food. Because it will leave some finger marks on the cutleries and the guests will not be comfortable to use it. Also, to avoid on that finger marks that we are talking about, you can use the service cloth. A service cloth can be used to hold the items being laid, giving a final polish before setting the item on the table. That is, when you talk about the final polish, we are talking about the shiny side of either the cutleries or the glasses that we are going to use at the cover. When laying the cover, the cutleries should be laid from inside to the outside of the cover. This is to ensure even spacing of the cover and to reduce the need to handle items laid more than it is necessary. Now when we talk about the inside of the cover, a cover is meant for one person, that is a cover. So you put at the middle, you start with the crockery, that is a dinner plate. A dinner plate is the one that will give you now the direction on where to put a fork or a knife. And most of the time the fork should come at the left hand side and the knife at the right hand side. The soup spoon followed the knife. And we've said in order to give us the even space so that it should not be so much squeezed in to an extent that it will be uncomfortable for the next customer who is next to that cover. Now, what do we mean by a cover? A cover is the laying of the table in readiness for the service. There are a variety of place settings that may be used according to the type of a meal and a service being offered. And I've said in most we use a cover when you want to know in a table how many people are you going to serve. If it is 4 people on a table, then you have to put 4 covers, meaning it is for 4 people. That is what it means by the cover. Now, what is required in table setting? We require a tablecloth, and a tablecloth is the big one that is laid to cover up the entire table. We require a slip cloth. A slip cloth is the smaller one that is meant either to give a theme to the service, or it is meant to hold on the stains that might be dropping from the customer's plates. Then we have the cutleries, of which we have talked about, the knives, the spoons, and the forks. We have the cruets. The cruet stands for the salt, the pepper, that is the salt shakers and the pepper, and the flour. And finally we have the flour, and the flour is meant for the decoration. So that is what is required for a table setting. And we have a picture here that will give you a very clear example of what it means by setting up a table. What do we consider when we are laying up the cover? Those are the factors to consider in laying a cover. What do we require for that cover? What we need to consider is one, when deciding on the laying of a cover, there are 2 basic service considerations. We consider when cutleries for the meal is to be laid before each course is served. That is what we call an a la carte. An a la carte is also a type of a menu that is meant for a person who is compiling his own menu. It is not for a complete meal. So it is the only difference between an a la carte and the other side is the table d'hôte cover is meant to cover the whole meal, and all the cutleries that is required for that table d'hôte is set on the table. Unlike the a la carte, whereby you have to have only a plate, a fork, and a knife. That is what we consider when we are, or that are the factors that we guide us on laying up a cover. We will discuss on that topic in the next class in details, the difference between the setting of an a la carte and a double d'hôte cover. Thank you.